Hi, my name is Dylan Hull, and this is my Consumer Insight Assess presentation. In this presentation, I will discuss four theories of consumer attitudes and behavior in relation to Volkswagen and their primary competitor Toyota, as can be seen in the contents page above. When VW Automotive Group was founded, its flagship brand became Volkswagen, which went by the slogan of Volkswagen, which is German for people's car. Volkswagen itself was founded May 28, 1937, and its worldwide sales revenue as of 2019 was $275.2 billion. Volkswagen Automotive Group employed 671,000 people last year in 2019, as well as selling 10.82 million units. Volkswagen and the larger Volkswagen Automotive Group as a whole have a wide range of products and services under their house of brands. The Volkswagen Group holds brands such as Audi, Seat, Skoda, Bentley, Bugatti, Lamborghini, Porsche, Ducati, Volkswagen Commercial Vehicles, Scania, and finally Volkswagen, with products ranging from family hatchbacks and commercial vehicles to hypercars. More specifically, the Volkswagen brand operates in a range of markets with its product range involving electric cars, SUVs, estates, commercial vehicles, face cars, and family hatchbacks. This perception map shows Volkswagen's position in the automotive market. As you can see, VW operates at the top of the low price, low quality sector of brands, with the only brands in a similar position being both Ford and Toyota. Because of this, when choosing the primary competitor to compare with Volkswagen, Toyota was the obvious choice, as their worldwide sales revenue in 2019 was $280.5 billion, only $5 billion more than Volkswagen. Toyota also employed 370,870 people in 2019, as well as selling 10.74 million units. Therefore, they were the obvious choice when comparing to VW. The first theory I will be discussing is the theory of classical conditioning. Classical conditioning is a Pavlovian technique which Solomon states occurs when a stimulus that elicits a response, or the unconditioned stimulus, is paired with another stimulus that does not initially elicit a response on its own, or the neutral stimulus. Over time, the second stimulus causes a similar response because it is associated with the first stimulus, thus transforming the neutral stimulus into a conditioned stimulus. In 2019, Volkswagen announced the all-new ID range of 100% electric vehicles, beginning with the ID3 hatchback and ID4 crossover SUV. A short series of YouTube videos were released alongside this announcement, which provided insight for consumers into the production processes and the features this new range of vehicles would sport upon release. Volkswagen employed the Pavlovian technique of classical conditioning within these YouTube videos by associating the Volkswagen brand, in this case the neutral stimulus, with the electric car market, the unconditioned stimulus, to create a link between Volkswagen and environmentally friendly products and form the conditioned response from the consumers that Volkswagen vehicles are environmentally friendly and that Volkswagen as a brand cares about the environment and takes its corporate social responsibility seriously. This use of classical conditioning to form a link between Volkswagen and environmentally friendly practices is particularly important to VW because in 2015, Volkswagen were part of the infamous emissions scandal. As BBC News reported, in September, the Environmental Protection Agency found that many VW cars being sold in America had a defeat device or software in diesel engines that could detect when they were being tested, changing the performance accordingly to improve results. Therefore, classical conditioning has proved a useful tool in repositioning the brand in the eyes of the public after this scandal. By comparison, in 2020, Toyota revealed the latest model of the Yaris Hybrid. Toyota opted to use celebrity endorsement as the primary driving force of their campaign, releasing an advertisement featuring the famous US gymnast Caitlin Ohashi. Rather than present the technical aspects of the Yaris Hybrid, they simply showed Caitlin Ohashi perform an energetic, physics-defying routine through bland rush hour traffic in a busy city. ending with Ohashi landing the flip and transforming into a commuter driving the Yaris Hybrid, with the statement, "When you have the energy, why stop?" followed by Ohashi driving the Yaris on a suddenly empty road with no traffic. Rather than going for the informative approach and aiming to meet the utilitarian needs of the consumer by giving the functional and financial benefits and the logistics behind the design of the Yaris, like Volkswagen have done with the ID range, Toyota have opted to appeal to the hedonic needs of the consumer by presenting the Yaris as a fun, energetic, and enjoyable car to own by comparing it to this gymnast. This difference in approach to the marketing of the eco-friendly vehicles of each brand presents a clear difference in the way in which Volkswagen and Toyota perceive their consumers. Volkswagen clearly believes that the technical specification of their products and the logistics of how they are built is the most important detail to consumers, whereas Toyota clearly believes that it is the feelings you get when driving the car that are more important. The next theory I will discuss is Katz's functional theory of attitudes. Now, Solomon explains that Katz's functional theory of attitudes dictates that attitudes exist because they serve a function for the person, that is, they are determined by a person's motives. Now, Katz's theory features four functions: the utilitarian function, which relates to reward and punishment; the value expressive function, which dictates that attitudes express a consumer's central values and self-concept; the ego defensive function, which suggests attitudes are formed to protect consumers from external threats or internal feelings; and finally, the knowledge function, in which attitudes are formed due to a need for order or structure.
Because the utilitarian function creates attitudes based on whether a product or service gives the consumer pain or pleasure, as stated by Solomon, it is important that all manufacturers within the automotive industry meet the basic utilitarian needs of their consumers, this being to provide transport for people and belongings from point A to point B. Therefore, Volkswagen have sold themselves on the reliability of their vehicles with advertisements such as the now much parodied The Man advert, which presents a man who supposedly makes constant bad decisions that don't work out, with the advert wrapping up with the statement, "This is the man who drives a Volkswagen," because everyone needs something in life they can rely on. Now, as the value expressive function is linked not to the objective benefits of a product, but to what owning said product implies about you as a person, it is especially relevant to the automotive industry, as a person's choice of car is often used to make judgments about that person. Therefore, Volkswagen's original statement, the people's car, and the fact that as of 2017, VW held the majority of the global market share of passenger car production at 10.71%. By associating themselves with Volkswagen as a brand, consumers have the opportunity to express the importance of their family and friends to them, as well as presenting themselves as one of the people in keeping with the Volkswagen brand. Since the ego defensive function forms attitudes in order to protect the consumer from external threats or internal feelings, the consumer may choose not to link themselves to a brand that compromises their self-image, in this case, a man of the people. To combat this, Volkswagen has linked itself to numerous spectator events that are viewed by mass audiences made up of a variety of peoples in keeping with their aforementioned People's Man ethos. These events include the UEFA Football League, of which they are among the primary sponsors, and the FIA World Rallycross Championship, which they have competed in as a factory-run team, with their drivers taking the title 5 times. Now, finally, the last of Katz's functions, the knowledge function, can be applied across the automobile industry, as a result of vehicles being a high-price, high-risk product which needs high involvement from the consumer during the decision-making processes. Thus, the consumer requires as much knowledge as possible about the vehicle they are considering buying. Volkswagen caters to this need for knowledge by displaying a wide range of models on their website, or with a detailed custom configurator for each individual consumer's needs.
Just like with Volkswagen, Toyota also market their cars based on the utilitarian needs of their consumers. However, while the core theme of reliability can be found in both advertisements, Toyota focuses primarily on the durability and longevity of their cars, whereas Volkswagen creates the link between reliability of their cars by presenting a Volkswagen as starting when you need it to, as seen in the MAN advert. So while both advertise their cars' reliability, Toyota focuses more on the suggestion that their cars will last a long time if you buy one, which is important given a car is a high-risk long-term investment, whereas VW focuses solely on the engine reliability of their vehicles. The next theory I will discuss is expectancy or pull theory. Now, expectancy theory suggests that behavior is largely governed by expectations of achieving desired outcomes, according to Vroom. Meaning, you choose one brand over another because you expect that that brand you choose provides a better outcome than the other brand. There are three components of the pull theory, these being the expectancy, will the benefit be as good as expected, instrumentality, how do I know how good the benefit is or that I'll get what I paid for, and finally, valence, how significant are the rewards or benefits to me. Expectancy theory plays a vital role in the automotive industry, as due to the high levels of competition each brand must market themselves on the benefits their vehicles have over their competitors in order to inform consumer decisions. As a result of its importance, pull theory can be found in most of Volkswagen's advertisements. In this example, you can see how they fulfill the three components of pull theory in order to pull consumers towards their cars over their competitors. Now, the expectancy component when purchasing a Volkswagen for consumers is that you will receive a high-quality, reliable car with high levels of post-purchase support, as these are the assurances consumers expect from high-involvement products that use personal selling, according to Phil. Thus, Volkswagen have provided the information of what assurances the consumers can get when they purchase their car, such as the 4-year warranty and 3 free services. This provides some confirmation of the expectation for reliable post-purchase support, increasing the chances that the consumer will choose Volkswagen over its competitors. Next is the instrumentality component, which asks consumers how do they know the benefits are good and that they'll get what they paid for. And Volkswagen answers these questions within this advertisement, stating their cars come as standard with a 4-year warranty, which effectively acts as a guarantee that you will get what you paid for, as Volkswagen will cover the cost of any repairs unrelated to driver error. This suggests that Volkswagen is so confident that their Passat will be as good as promised in the expectancy component that they are willing to cover the cost of anything that doesn't meet the expectations of the consumer. The final component to be considered is valence, which asks the consumer if a product will improve their life given their needs. In this advertisement, Volkswagen addresses this component by providing a guarantee of support in achieving the utilitarian function of the car and the utilitarian needs of the consumer, those being to get from point A to point B. By offering 4 years standard warranty, 4 years roadside assistance and 3 free services, Volkswagen provides assurance that the consumer's needs will be fulfilled, thus their lives will be improved by achieving one of their needs based on their circumstances. Unlike Volkswagen, the focus of Toyota's advertisement isn't their warranty or post-purchase support. It's made clear from the advertisement above that Toyota believes the primary pull factors of their products are the features of their vehicles rather than the quality of their post-purchase care. As seen in this ad, the details of the warranty are only briefly covered, whereas there are multiple features listed such as automatic gearboxes, power steering, and roof-mounted air vents. This suggests that while the incentive or pull factors for both brands are based around the needs of consumers, Toyota focuses on the psychogenic and hedonic needs of their consumers by advertising what their car's additional unnecessary attributes and options are, allowing consumers to fulfill their needs for status and/or affiliation. In this example, the automatic gearbox can be considered a method of affiliation because automatic gearboxes often come with more expensive and luxurious vehicles with a higher price tag, whereas Volkswagen seek to fulfill the utilitarian needs of their consumer, focusing their marketing on what the post-purchase support the consumer can get is, while providing assurances of the quality of their products by advertising the warranty, roadside assistance, and fully covered free services. The next topic I will cover is family and reference groups. As can be seen in this model, consumers are influenced both by family members and external peers. As stated by Solomon, studies on families and reference groups have shown peers have influence on consumer decisions when buying a product. On the family influence aspect is the core family, meaning the family within your household, and the extended family, which includes 3 generations of family including children, parents, and grandparents. It is suggested that these peers have varied levels of influence over a consumer's decisions. On the other side are the non-family influences, such as reference groups, opinion leaders, and other consumers, primarily through word of mouth, be that organic word of mouth or word of mouth created by brands, market, and materials, who also wield varied levels of influence on the decisions of consumers. According to Solomon, children can act as decision makers, and children often have a say in what their parents buy, especially for products consumed by both parents and children. Volkswagen clearly knows this, as can be seen in the advertisement below. By partnering themselves with the child's toy manufacturer Playmobil, Volkswagen is able to further their image as a family-friendly brand with a focus on children as decision makers. Now, based on the platform this advert was released on, being Instagram, and the fact that Playmobil is the favoured toy brand for children aged 6 to 11 according to Mothers, it can be concluded that the advertisement is targeted at new parents in accordance with the family life cycle, where children are more likely to have higher levels of influence on decisions made by their parents. Specifically, this is an example of using children as decision makers through observation, meaning children want a product because of exposure to commercials about this product, as can be seen by using the toy VW Beetle in the animation style of Playmobil's product in order to promote the Volkswagen brand, in order to grab the attention of children who can then use pester power and consultation to influence the decisions of their parents when thinking of a new car to purchase. Much like Volkswagen, Toyota focuses specifically on the use of children in their marketing materials, as can be seen in the above video. However, unlike Volkswagen, rather than focusing on children as influencers and decision makers, Toyota simply uses children to improve the perception of their brand in the eyes of the consumer. They do this by hosting family-friendly competitions such as the Dream Car Art Contest, which asks children to design their perfect car. This is in contrast to Volkswagen, as rather than affecting the decisions of the family financial officer by using the child's direct influence, be that pester power like in the previously mentioned Volkswagen advert, Toyota simply aims to influence the consumer decision through their brand image. Thus, they provide opportunities for children to participate in fun activities such as this art competition in order to appeal to their parents looking for a car that suits the needs of their families by presenting themselves as a brand that cares about their consumers and is family-friendly in the design of their vehicles. To conclude, Volkswagen Automotive Group is the most successful manufacturer currently in the automotive industry, with its main rival being Toyota. Both Volkswagen and Toyota are highly aware of their consumers, and so they both apply relevant, effective theories of consumer attitudes and behavior to their market materials. The main focus of Volkswagen's market materials are the tangible aspects of their products, whereas Toyota primarily focuses on the hedonic needs of their consumers in their market materials, such as how their products make the consumer feel. This has been my assessed presentation as part of my Consumer Insight module of my Marketing with Advertising Management course. Thank you for your attention.